We speak to business owners every single day about the challenges they face: cash flow, growth, supplier payments, getting paid on time, and navigating international payments and foreign exchange. But behind those conversations is a network of people inside Synergy and across the wider SME world dealing with the same challenges. So we're starting something new, and it's called the Synergy Exchange. Real conversations about what people are seeing in the market, what they're learning, and the realities of helping businesses manage their funding, trade, and growth. Today, I'm joined by Megan Hughes, one of our client solutions executives, who joined us about 5 months ago.
I'm glad to be
here.
Welcome
to the show.
Thank you.
So, Megan, psychology degree to a finance career. Talk to me.
I had really no idea what I was doing at the start, just kind of figuring it out. Obviously, I applied for the job and was like, oh, this is like an interesting industry, but have had no experience before that. So I just kind of went straight in. I feel like with the team around me, they helped me in terms of learning what I needed to know at the start, but I think learning on the job is like a big part of that.
Awesome. So tell me about your first few weeks at Synergy. What was you doing and how did you find the training, the support around you in the office?
Well, it was all very new for me. I kind of just got stuck straight in. With the training, it was a lot, like trade finance, invoice finance. I'd never really heard of these things before. It was all very new, but that was also quite exciting. With the help of Will and Sunny, they kind of taught me what I needed to know to begin with. And then ever since then, I've just kind of been learning as I go.
So in the learning process when you first started, was it the product knowledge of the solutions we offer or the outreach training do you find was most important?
I think initially, obviously you need to learn about the product, you need to know what you're selling. But after that, it was kind of, right, so you know the basics. Now we have to actually put it in practice. And you need to learn how to speak to people, how to kind of approach people and sell the product. But I think the main thing is like being able to have these conversations with people, not just here's the product, do you want it or not? It has to be having a conversation around how the business works, how the person works, and having that initial connection.
Okay. So the outreach side of things, obviously we do things quite differently over here at Synergy. What would you say the main differences are with how we do things on outreach compared to other companies that might be in international payments or even just commercial finance?
I think that the main difference for us is we don't really do the cold calling anymore. Obviously, cold calling works, you know that more than anyone. But
been there, done that.
Yeah, but it's like it's a whole new generation, and with like social media like LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all of these different platforms, it gives you kind of a bigger reach. And I also realised that these forms of outreach, that they kind of sometimes work for you. For example, if you're cold calling 100 people a day, as soon as the phone's gone, the conversation's done.
So what surprised you most about this industry when you started?
I think the fact that you can have a laugh, like it doesn't have to be constantly serious all the time. Ultimately, the people you're talking to, the business owners, they're not scary, like they're just human beings. And you're packaging a product for them, you have to connect with them, but they're also human beings.
So what you're really saying is people buy from people. So the product could be really, really good, or the product could be subpar. But if it's a person putting it over the right way and being able to connect with people, that's generally the key, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's like the main thing I've learned, especially in the past couple months.
So what would you say in the first 5 months? What's the biggest thing you've learned so far?
I think the biggest thing I've learned so far is that like almost all businesses can benefit from one of our products. If they don't already have it in place, it's something that they will start looking at soon. And so it's just about communicating the value, and that's where we come in.
Absolutely. I mean, especially in today's market, where definitely seems over the last sort of 9 years since Synergy have been offering funding solutions properly, it seems that most of the experts that were working for high street banks before in invoice finance, trade finance, asset finance, and the SME funding, they've left the banks, and all the specialities are now in alternative finance. Which is great, but small business owners still seem to go, I want to speak to my bank manager, and those days are over, but aren't necessarily have access to the wider range of alternative funding products that are out in the market now. Do you feel that our approach really does sort of open those doors for UK SMEs about products they would never know about?
100%. That's the thing, is if you don't know it's there, how are you going to find it? So that's why we're approaching these people and kind of educating through our LinkedIn posts, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it may be.
Okay. So when you're reaching out to people, obviously a lot of the people you're speaking to will approach you now. You're getting a lot of inbound leads now. Are you finding that a lot of these companies have already been approached by foreign exchange companies?
Yeah, so some people are talking to multiple people at once, but people are selling different things, right? People, if you're coming in trying to sell FX constantly, that you get 100 calls a day from FX brokers trying to sell you FX. We have to kind of be different, stand out, and obviously we do the funding side as well. Our approach is more specific to the business. We want to understand the person, the pain points, not just we can do it cheaper for you. We can beat the rates.
Yeah, I mean, what we've found recently is more and more boutique foreign exchange companies have got trade finance tabs on their websites now. But do you find working at Synergy Exchange with, obviously, we've been a principal lender and we still are a principal lender. Do you find that when you're having these conversations, people are actually finding that we aren't just trying to give them one product? We can fit them into anything else that they need.
Definitely. That's literally like the main point, I think, is that once you speak to these people, you understand their pain points and you can kind of build the product around them rather than trying to fit, what is it,
square peg in a round hole.
That's it.
Is the saying I always use, for sure. Okay, so you've been with us just 5 months now. So, over my years of running sales teams, having sales teams, the approach that we have now is very different to how we used to have. It's not something we can just try. It's something you have to fully commit to. And it's working really well for us. You've gained yourself a nickname already within 5 months due to your ability of closing deals. So you are Megan the Megatron.
I'll take it.
So, tell me about your biggest successes that you found in the first 5 months of Synergy.
I think just the progression being quite quick. It was like a lot at once and then realizing, there actually is, like, this does pay off. I think for me, I have had a goal. I said to myself that I was going to save up for my car, which I was doing. And then obviously as time goes on, I realised that was probably a bit sooner than I'd anticipated.
Happens quickly when you put the work in, right?
Definitely. And I think like having that goal shows you, like, once you put in the reps, what's possible, and it kind of motivates you and you can set your goal and that goal post changes. So just be better and better. Yeah,
the car that you initially wanted when you started at Synergy, the one you're getting now, it's very vastly different to the one you had in your mind beforehand, right? Okay, so on a point of view, we work quite closely together, you and I, on your deals. You get to work directly with me because you get the most amount of leads. Lucky you, or unlucky you.
No, it depends on the day.
But listen, I may be the CEO, but I'm a hands-on CEO, right? I think that's what we have to do. We have to always lead from the front, and it keeps me on my toes as well. So on your third month, you hit close to 30k in revenue, which any other business owner in our space knows. If someone comes in, very rarely are they going to hit any numbers like that in a 1 month period. And obviously we've gone on from there, as you know. So how did that make you feel when you closed your first few deals and you saw that sort of revenue coming in and the subsequent commissions?
Yeah, really good. I mean, obviously, but I didn't really know what to expect. Like, I wasn't really sure how it kind of usually went, whether that was like what everyone was doing. And I think having the team around me to be there and like support me really made the difference. Everyone like bigs you up here. That's kind of the whole.
Yeah, the culture I've found here is very, very different to what it maybe once was, when we used to have rows and rows of cold callers, and we all know that layout. And the culture then was, could sometimes be toxic. Whereas here, the way we work now, I find it's such a nicer place to be. It's good fun. How do you find the culture here?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably my favourite part of the job. I feel like everyone at Synergy wants you to succeed, and I think that's obvious just being here and just being in the office. You can tell from the way that we all support each other, and I think it's really important.
Absolutely. So on your third month, when you hit those numbers, how did that make you feel at the time when you're here, you're working away and you start seeing the benefit of your work and know that it's not just a one-hit wonder? This is going to be recurring and you're going to start seeing that snowball effect moving forward.
I think it's really motivating to see it kind of all come together. Obviously, on a day-to-day basis, we do have a lot of fun. We take a lot of pictures, take a lot of content, make a lot of videos, but we do work. Like, that's not all our job is.
It's a grind.
Yeah, it's the grind set, the motivation side of it, and I think the office atmosphere really does help with that, especially with everyone else's stories.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, you can see the more your pipeline grows, not every deal's going to come off, but they also start to snowball as you go along, right?
Definitely.
So what would you say the office, if you were to sum the Synergy Exchange working environment up in 2 words, what would it be?
I would say creative and driven. I think that pretty much sums most of us up. We like to have fun. We have these meetings every week where we come up with new ideas, put new things on the table, everyone gets involved in. But then also on the side of, we show up every day, put the reps in, do the work, and then ultimately it pays off.
Absolutely. Okay, so what kind of person would you say would succeed at Synergy Exchange?
I think someone who has a lot of hunger. I think that's like a number one thing here, especially in this industry. Competitiveness definitely helps. Also someone who just wants to be part of a team, works well in a team.
We've spoken quite a bit about what we've made out of it, but what I want to touch on at that point is the real thing we get out of this is, look, we all come to work, we're a business, we have to make money.
Obviously it's great that like I'm hitting my own targets, we're all hitting our own targets, but ultimately we rely on working with businesses. If they don't do well, then we don't do well, and vice versa. I think like the main drive for what we do is kind of seeing these businesses we work with succeed, especially when you build a relationship with the CEO, the partner. Obviously they're doing more FX with us as time goes on, which means they're buying more, which also means they're selling more. So we're doing something right. And yeah, I think it's just about partnership is the main thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, look, we're not just a smash and grab here. You know, we're giving timeless solutions really that can help capitalize that business and ultimately help that business grow. Obviously you've been here for 5 months, you haven't quite seen the refi side of things, but you know, I get a great deal of pleasure when, you know, you've got a solution for a client, it comes up for renewal and we go back into the market for them, and you find that, you know, suddenly now you're going to get them 3 times the facility size at like half the rate, and you know, you're looking at their figures again that they provide you. They come to us most of the time at that point, and we're seeing how much that business has grown, and we've played a key part in that. And we're really about being a financial partner to our clients. It's not just coming in and, okay, we can do this for you. You know, we're an integral part of their business, kind of like an unpaid employee, really. Okay, Megan, so before we wrap up, we do something called the Synergy Exchange Desk Roundup, okay? And there are a few short, sharp, fast questions that you need to answer off the top of your head. Okay?
No pressure.
Okay, no pressure at all. What would you say the most common problem SMEs face in the UK right now?
Cash flow.
What would you say the biggest myth about business funding is?
That the banks are the only option.
What one word would you describe the Synergy office?
Innovative.
What's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself in your 5 months at Synergy?
The biggest thing I've learned about myself is that I do have the confidence. It's just about just not thinking about something, just doing it. And then once you've done that enough times, you build that up more and more, and then it just becomes easy. You live and breathe it.
Okay, Megan, well, thanks for being the first guest on the
course.
Synergy Exchange.
It's a pleasure.
I think it's great to have members of the team in the bell as well. As you know, we're going to be getting people in from lending partners, foreign exchange partners, clients, affiliates. But I thought it'd be great to start with yourself, because I'm really proud of your journey so far at Synergy. I love working with you, and I like to see people succeed and do well fast. And you've definitely done that, and really, really excited to see your progression here.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. Thank you.